Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Friday and welcome to Aquarius Rising Africa with me, Chantelle, your hostess with the mostest awesome guests and viewers. Yay! And welcome to all the chatters, my wenches with wrenches, and I remember now fellows with fasteners too. And then what Duke always says. I like that. Anyway, guys, so we've got ARKHEIM RA on tonight. Very happy. And we're going to be talking about the music industry and obviously the harvesting of energy, loosh, whatever you call it, in the music industry. ARKHEIM, as we know, is not a stranger on the show anymore. He's a survivor of the Secret Space program and the Montauk program, and obviously is a whistleblower on all these incredible things. If you guys haven't caught any of my previous shows with him, please do. They are Aquarius Rising Africa. We haven't done any on solutions. That's what I'm thinking. So, without any further ado, and yes, and thank you for all the members that have joined. Please join our membership channel. We're doing cool things on there right now. So, Tada.
Hey, thanks for
Without any
having me.
further ado, Kim, it's so good to have you again. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me. This is gonna be a lot for me. This show, I'm gonna be sharing some pretty heavy duty, intense stuff that goes very deep down the rabbit hole. But I think we can just get right to it. And like I said to you, kind of before we started, I think that people are ready for it. So I think we can do
Yeah.
this.
I think that it's amazing that guys like yourself are coming out and speaking about this, obviously. And I know that the viewers on this channel, I mean, we were just having a little off-air chat, are definitely, we've heard the worst of the worst. It never gets easier, actually. Um, I think for me, just the extent to which it's been going on is absolutely mind blowing. It really, really is. So, welcome again, ARKHEIM, and thank you for sharing your story with us. Now, I know
Yeah,
you've had,
absolutely.
mm, yeah, you've had you've had a bit of experience, a bit could be this or that, right? In the music industry as well, along with your other incredible adventures that I would call them.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it all comes at a really great price, which you'll learn in this interview. It's very like yeah, like like in the stories and stuff like that are wild, and I've experienced some pretty intense things. And honestly, I'm privileged to have experienced some things that other people will probably never experience. But like I said, as you'll learn throughout this interview, and just really in general with my testimony, all of it comes at a very great price, and there's a lot of mind control and manipulation and sort of stealing. Honestly, they're stealing from me, in my opinion, going on, and you feel like you're being robbed. And it's not just like the songs they steal and the fact they make money off of it. It's much deeper than that. It's the fact that they're giving these songs to people that they prop up, that join their little cult, and they don't know the emotion behind the song, the story behind the song, all that stuff, what it really took to put it into the music. Because there's this idea, if you read articles about the music industry and stuff like that, like you can almost like put a song down an assembly line, like, oh, we need a song for a movie, we're going to make this great song. Like, for instance, if you hear the story behind My Heart Will Go On, which I wrote My Heart Will Go On, at Montauk. Um, they the guy talks about how he needed a song for a movie, Titanic, and so he just wrote this song. He just pulled it out of his ass, and it's like that song is so emotional and has so much. The story behind it's really sad. It was about how I lost my trauma twin for Montauk. Sorry, it's really hard talking about this stuff.
no, Kim, you're absolutely fine. Take a breath. Take your time, really. Take your
I'll ground
time.
myself in the moment here, real quick.
Take your time.
It's about how I got separated from her and she was gone, and there was no really no real explanation to what exactly even happened to her. It wasn't really like that, and there was so much darkness when it came manipulation and disgusting things that Preston Nichols was doing to us to psychologically manipulate us. And there's eventually a point with Project Phoenix 2 where she wasn't there anymore. She was gone, which I thought was because they were protecting her, because I made a deal with Preston that if they basically to get her out of the program because it was so nasty and so bad, and I didn't want her to go through it anymore. And I found out he was lying to me about it, and that she was just put somewhere else, and she was even still at Montauk at times. This doesn't exactly have to do with the music industry, but I want people to understand the magnitude of what they did to me at Montauk. One of the first memories I got back was the fact that they had giant yellow containers that were about taller than this refrigerator behind me, maybe. Big, giant yellow containers. And they're full of the bodies of dead children.
Take your time. Please take your time. Really, there's no rush here. And
And I
everyone
was
is
I was I was tasked with bringing them to either the furnace earlier in the project, but then later on we eventually had reptiles on base, Draco on base, and they like eating humans. So they didn't necessarily, they like to eat them alive, but we could still feed them if they died being tortured or something like that. Anyway, I was very psychic. I still am, but it's more buried right now. But when I grabbed one of the containers, I'll explain the process of a trauma twin. It's pretty simple. I could do a whole show on it, but just to sum it up, so people understand the concept. In these programs, they don't pay you, obviously. They need to motivate you to do your job somehow, right? So what they do is, when you are a child, they bond you to somebody with trauma. So like you go through trauma together and basically get through it together, and then your soul is like bonded to them. It's on a soul level what they do to you, and they use that person sort of like the carrot to hang in front of you, to dangle in front of you, to get you to do your job. And that was what that she's alive in the here and now with zero awareness of being in the programs. In the programs, I can say her alter name. It was Evelyn, and like I said, I made this deal with Preston for her to be off base and for her to not be part of what we were dealing with anymore because it was so bad. And I was naive enough to think that I was so important and that they wanted to appease me so much because I was so powerful and such an important piece of the project that he would actually appease to me, and actually, like, it was naive of me to think that he would hold up on his end, right? Very naive of me to think that. But I was mind controlled. I was being mind controlled. And anyway, I sensed that she was in the container. So this is out of a fucking horror movie. I could sense that she was in it. Like, I could just sense it. So I kind of like tilted the barrel over and like started pulling the bodies of children out of it. Dead kids. Until I saw her face. And I got so pissed off. Like, I promise you, I don't think there's ever been a moment of more intense anger ever. I don't know if there ever has been. I was so mad. And it's dangerous to get me mad. It's really dangerous to get me mad. At least in these programs it was. And I got so mad, I started floating in the air. And glass broke. Like, all the glass around me broke. I heard a whoo, and it was the power of Montauk. It was going out and then on again and then out, like, and then like the power was going out and on, and like the lights were flickering and shit, and I was floating in the air. And Preston Nichols comes out to me. He comes into this room. And he's like, "What's going on? What happened?" And then at that point, I turned to him and I float him in the air, and I'm crushing him with my powers. Like I'm crushing him, and I'm choking him out like Darth Vader. And I'm like, you fucking lied to me, you fucking piece of shit. You promised me you're going to keep her safe. You promised me you're going to keep her safe, and you lied to me. How can I trust you with anything anymore at all, ever? And I remember I was crushing him. And I was like making sure that he could feel his fucking skull coming in on his brain, trying to torture him as much as I can, and strangling his insides, his intestines, to make him be in as much pain as possible. And then I threw him down to the floor with my telekinesis, and his head crushed open, and he died, which is of no matter. They can throw him in a regen tank, and it's not actual death at Montauk, but for a moment there, he was dead, to help you understand the circumstances we're in and what death meant to us. And basically, I had another thing going on, working for the Sumerian god Marduk. I was actually being leased to the Project Phoenix 2 by Marduk. He was so powerful that if they didn't appease to him and do certain things, he would fuck with them, and he would not allow them to have me, and he would take me back. But I basically, after this moment, went back to where Marduk was. And when I came back, it's all fucked up. It's such a fucked up story. My story of Montauk's so bad. I had a son. I had a wife when that happened. Like, and I left, and I didn't come back. And there's more to the story than that, but like, I wasn't able to be in my son's life, okay? And because of that. And so I want people to understand this. It's kind of funny because I really haven't even gotten into music yet, but I feel like this backstory is all really important. My son,
Yeah.
so I had a son, Jason. His name's Jason, and it's in my book, Time and Space Unlimited by ARKHEIM RA on Amazon if you want to find it. But I also will just, you can hear it here. I'll tell it right now, at least briefly, like not the whole entire story. But basically, there's a mission in Budapest. We had a lot of freedom because we were gathering dirt on high class individuals, and they couldn't really keep insight on us, like too much oversight on us, because it would kind of blow their cover. So they let us be more hands off. And there was a woman that I was with who was my wife. I married her, and it's not my trauma twin. This is later on. I had to get over that, right? But anyway, it's like a long story, but she got pregnant, and for us, we always had this agreement, like we're not gonna ever do that. If you get pregnant, you abort the child, which I know sounds messed up, but like, or just don't allow it to happen, really. But basically, like in these, like we knew if we had kids, they would end up in the satanic programs. They would end up in these rituals. They would end up being time soldiers. They'd end up getting put through the hell that they put us through, because they share our DNA and have the same abilities, right? In fact, they loved it when we made babies, because that's more assets for them. So we didn't want to make babies. And she was just like, well, the story goes basically like what happened was she was gone for days, which wasn't that abnormal. Our job was basically to party with people, secretly film it, right? And then blackmail them. That was like a big part of our job, right? And I figured she was just off doing something that took some time or whatever, and she was just on a bender. We basically were going on benders and everything. We're doing cocaine, all that stuff. And I just figured she was just out on some bender, getting some job done, getting dirt on some big wig or something like that. That's what I figured was going on. But I was suspicious. I was like, it's okay. Normally, I would have some sort of sign of where she was. I didn't know where she was, and I would at least know something about it. But I tried to not let myself worry. But then this guy shows up to my house. He was a friend, a mutual friend, and he just goes, "Hey," and her name was Sandra, and I think on this mission she had some other name for her life, but I can't remember. I'll just call her Sandra for all intents and purposes. And he was just like, because this was like the 70s, late 70s, early 80s or something like that on a time mission. And so, and like I said, Budapest. And so he said to go to this roller rink at a certain time and call this number. Basically, so it wouldn't be traced. So they wouldn't know it was me calling her. And so they wouldn't be able to find her. And she basically, so I did it. I called the number that the guy gave me at the time at the roller rink, like he said to go to. And she basically told me she was pregnant and she was going to have the baby. And there wasn't anything I could do to talk her out of it. And I was like, well, this is a dumb idea. But I knew her. And I knew, she's like, look, this is the last time you're going to be able to talk to me until Montauk. You're probably not going to see me for the rest of this mission, the rest of this life you live here. And she was just like, don't look for me. Don't try to find me. Promise me you won't try to find me. I need you to promise me that. And I was like, you can't make me do that. She's like, you know I can. That's the kind of personality she had and still does. And she was right. I was like, yeah, I won't try to find you. And basically, my son was brought into Montauk. I'm skipping a big part of the story. It's important. She went to Inverness, Scotland. She was a waitress somewhere, and she just tried to hide and blend in with the people there as like an immigrant that just like came there from some European country or something. And she and these two ladies raised Jason until he was like 8 or 9, and she eventually opened up to these ladies. And I don't know if they're from the projects too or from other projects or what, because they're also very powerful people. I don't know if she just found them because she was just psychic and can do that or what, but which I actually kind of have a feeling it was the latter. She just found them. Because I remember, like, specifically one of them is a famous rock star, which I feel weird saying it and almost kind of bad saying it because they're not public and I don't know how aware they are, but I'm just going to say it anyway. It's Molly Rankin from the band Always. They're a Canadian rock band. She was with her when she came back to Montauk, and she was part of there's a woman named Belinda, and then her, and then Belinda, Molly, which I can't remember if that was her name or not in Inverness or whatever, but that's what her name is now, so we'll call her. And this Belinda woman, and so basically what they did is the Montauk people eventually found them, and they showed up to their house and tried to bring them back, like where they're living together in Inverness. They showed up there and tried to kill them all, bring them back in body bags, and they did not succeed. And so then at that moment they had a decision to make because they're like, okay, they're on to us. They know that we're not on the mission anymore. Because you got to keep in mind, we'd be in a whole lifetime, right? 10 minutes on the other side of the portal. So the oversight was a little hard, a little tricky sometimes to have oversight on what we were doing. But somehow, even within this window, this weird time window that they have, it's all time displaced and confusing to people. They somehow figured out, like, oh, she took off with this baby and she's not on the mission. And so they came to, it's called an extraction team. They sent in an extraction team. It's pretty common. In fact, at the end of a lot of missions, that's how you bring them back, is with an extraction team. Some of them you let them naturally die, but and just bring them back then. But in this situation, obviously they sent in an extraction team because she wasn't following the mission. And they did not succeed. And then they had a decision to make at this point. It was either be hunted down like rats, by these Montauk people until they eventually do find you and do kill you like rats, or go to Montauk and fucking show them what time it is and tell them to keep your fucking hands off our fucking this kid here. You are not allowed to touch them. So that's what they did. And I was not there. We do not talk. I don't know if he's my biological brother. I don't know if he likes me talking about his testimony, but it's what happened, so I don't really fucking care. He told me that, because I was still in the mission, mind you. He was at Montauk. He was the one who experienced this, so I'm relaying this. They came in there through a portal that they opened into the portal room, which is a very dangerous place to have combat. Because if you explore those, if you shoot one of those or something like that, like you can open up like an unstable wormhole and it can like suck everything in. Like crazy things can happen in that portal room if there's ever combat that happens in it. And they knew that, so that's why they portaled in there. And they had a triangle of death around Jason, and they're just like, look, we have demands and you're going to meet them. You're going to leave this kid alone. You're going to give us this room. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. You're going to fucking hands off. And I would argue that that's the beginning of, because what happened later on was a mutiny of it it was like Al Bielek, Preston Nichols, Jack Pruitt, these Air Force and Navy and Brookhaven Labs people that were at the top of it. Us guinea pigs that they made basically fucking superheroes. I mean, think about it. All they had was a mind control system keeping us down. So once we were able to break out of that system, which relied on us competing over the affection of the women there, competing over our just hatred over against each other, which after a while we're like, why do we hate each what does this come from again? You know, and realizing the events that made us hate each other were all set up intentionally. When we realized that stuff, it eventually caused a mutiny, and for a while we had the base. And here's where it gets crazy: is like I said, I left Montauk and I was not there for my son, and my son resents me for this. I know this. My son Jason, and so basically in the programs, when I was part of Project Phoenix 2, I had an arch nemesis, this guy who would always come through portals during my missions when I'd be trying to grab some sacred amulet or some artifact or like do something. All these different things, a lot of different stuff. He'd show up there and he'd be trying to undo what I'm doing. He'd be there, right there, trying to either hand-to-hand combat, fight to the death, or I'm trying to make this event happen. He's doing stuff over here with this other group of people, trying to undo the event, make it not happen. And I'm like, where is this guy coming from? Who is he? Like, and he was the bane of my existence. I was quite honestly afraid of him because he was as powerful as me. He could best me. He won sometimes. It was kind of toe-to-toe kind of combat where he was really strong. And I remember like one time I was like on top of him, had a gun in his face, was like on his head. Like I'm like, who are you? Who are you working for? God, tell me I'm trying to go into his mind. He's pushing me out of his mind. He's crushing my head with his psi abilities, his psychic, like his telekinesis, and I couldn't get anything from him. I couldn't figure out where he was from, who this guy was. He was my son from the future. That's who this guy was. Because I wasn't. So after the mutiny, right? I was over at the other side of this portal with Marduk. I wasn't there during the mutiny part, right? And after the mutiny, they're like, we're going to change all this stuff we did. Fuck this event. Fuck this event. This event shouldn't have happened. We're going to
Oh,
undo
wow.
this. We're going to undo that. Like, yeah, they started editing history. And since I wasn't there, and my son obviously hated me because I wasn't there for him and I wasn't in his life, he volunteered to undo the events that I did. So I
Oh,
ended up
wow.
finding out that this guy that was trying to kill me all the time was my
Your son.
son from the future. You know how
Wow.
fucked
I
up
mean,
that is?
we're talking like, what's that movie we saw with Sarah, the one wherever? What's that? One of the is it a Mad Max? I can't remember. Sorry, I'm not good with movies. But literally, where the sun appears from the future and is literally, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, that's
They
insane.
show you a lot of
That's
this stuff in plain sight, and they had guys come in there, Hollywood people interview us to get ideas for movies. So I think that like
wow.
I think they literally, I know they literally take some of this stuff from us, and obviously they'll edit it a little bit, put a little spin on it. The events might not be exactly the same and stuff, but they use it as Terminator is literally based on an alternate reality. I've seen the Terminators. Um, yeah, like a lot of the stuff is alternate realities or off-world stuff. Yeah, but I feel like I've kind of missed the mark with the music stuff. I haven't really
No,
talked
I
about.
think I get that we're going to get there because I like to let things also go where I feel they need to go.
Yeah, I mean
Are you good?
that's all super big part of, I guess, like my story, like and like what I've went through, like explaining what I went through with Evelyn and how I loved her so much that I was willing to lose her to not have to see her go through like suffering. And then also a part of it though is like I knew she was afraid of me because she found out what I did for her. Because like I said, she was the carrot that they held in front of me to get me to do things. We could get tortured and not not give up and not do things because we were so used to it. But like seeing her get hurt or having her get taken away from me, my soul couldn't handle it. I couldn't bear it. They had me under their thumb with that. And so she found out like I am getting sent into like ancient villages to kill every man, woman, and child, babies. The whole place is covered in blood by the time I leave, and there's just bodies everywhere. And guess what? I did that for her. I did that to be with her. It's like the Anakin Skywalker thing, where it's like when she finds out that he's willing to do all these things to keep her in his life, her in it like, which is another thing where I'm like, did they get that from us? Did they get that from my story? Like, I literally wonder. I don't know for sure. It could just be a coincidence, but like, I resonate with that character arc because it honestly was what sent me losing her, and everything that happened to me really sent me off the fucking deep end, made me go insane. It made me go insane, and it made me a really evil person. Because it tricked me into thinking like love was this thing that just destroys you. It's like a weakness. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's exactly it.
and that's
And
probably what they
anything,
wanted. It was probably all set up
yes.
exactly to do that.
And because anything, because the one thing we know about these guys is they are completely devoid of love. Every action they make is completely coming from this dark place that just
Yes.
sucks. And love is the one thing that saves us all. Honestly, I have no doubt about that in my mind.
And
The
I guess
more
the good news, the silver lining, about this, because I want to, it's it. I don't want to be like it was. Yes, I was this dark, evil person, and I was very bad, very evil for a long time. Where I believed in the darkness. I believe they called me the Shield of Baphomet. That's what they called me. Like, that was my nickname, the Shield of Baphomet. So I was very entrenched into this satanic cult. Believe me, I was. And their blood rituals. I was addicted to Adrenochrome, which we'll get into more later. Um, it was bad. I was like really, 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 really fucking evil. But what got me out of it, and it's in a way a dark story, kind of sad, but I guess in a way kind of beautiful, depending on how you look at it. There was this girl at Montauk. She was a very little girl, and I feel like the later the program went on, like we tried to be a little bit more better about certain things. Like, for instance, like they made it a rule at a certain point because there are these guys, like it was so dog eat dog, like they like you could grab women and just rape them and stuff, and you wouldn't get reprimanded for it. You wouldn't get in trouble. The attitude was they should have fought back harder. Dog eat dog, like that's what it was like. But that changed later on. Like, in fact, you would like you would rape people just to assert dominance over them. It had nothing to do with anything fucking sexual at all. Sometimes it was just to show them I'm better than you, I'm stronger than you. Like, it was a messed up environment. But eventually, when more responsible, less insane people kind of got in charge over time, and which is a long story how it all happened. But they made a rule you couldn't do that. You couldn't just like grab women and rape them and stuff, right? Like, and they actually said first time you get put in this hole, like this room for like 2 weeks, which nobody wants that. Like this dark room that's like all damp and smells bad, and like, just no, nobody wants that. But it was like that was the first thing, and then the second time, like, we're just gonna kill you, and you're not gonna be a part of this project anymore, and we're gonna put you in your because everybody had like a normal life that they had to go back to or whatever. So they'd be like, and we'll put you back into the life that you came from if you and so anyway, this was at that point where that wasn't allowed, but people were still doing it, kind of thing, even though it wasn't allowed. There are a lot of people. There's a lot of people, and for some reason, and a lot of people talked about it. The hallways were like really dimly lit to the point where it's like a security hazard and stuff. It doesn't make any sense. We've kind of joked about it before, like the other people that remember Montauk, and that's what caused a lot of these women to get grabbed up, and these guys would wait and stuff. And anyway, this was happening to this little girl. She was 8, I don't know, and it was disgusting to me. So I went in there and I fucking like used my abilities to throw these guys against the wall and stuff, and like I grabbed her and I was like, you guys are gonna get fucking reprimanded. I'm reporting you, blah 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 blah. Like, go back to your fucking rooms. Like, you're gonna be talked to. And I basically brought her and cleaned her up. And what I didn't realize is, so how they bonded us in these programs was a moment of trauma where the person that you fall in love with steps in to like save you, to show you compassion, in a place where you don't get any compassion. So it profoundly affects you, right? And that's what happened.
Wow.
That's what happened to that little girl in that moment. She had never seen
Wow.
passion before, so I unwittingly made her form a trauma bond with me. And then from that point on, she was following me around the base. And I know this is weird, Like I was very much against. I want to make this clear. Like I was very much against, like, because I was abused by these p-files guys, like, that were doing all this stuff, and I was not a p-file, and I did not have feelings towards her at all. But later on, when she became a full-grown woman, and we're time soldiers, so we're both like hundreds of years old technically. So I met her when she was a little girl, but eventually she became a full-grown woman, which is kind of weird. I'll admit that is kind of weird. But in this environment, like, we worked together, we did missions together and stuff like that, and she just told me, like, I'm in love with you, I'm in love with you, I want to be with you. And it ended up happening, and we did end up being with each other, and it saved my immortal soul, literally. I don't know if I would have ever gotten out of the darkness if it wasn't for the fact that I felt the need to save that little girl, because I didn't like what was being done to her. And yeah, and it's dark, like I said. Like, I was in their darkness for a long time, but I got out of it, and it was thanks to her. And it was, we I remember, like some of the dates we went on, because we were Montauk time soldiers. Like, I would bring her back in time into, like, other planets and all these beautiful places. It's wild. Some of the, like, our love story, me and Cassandra's love story. It's a wild story. You could definitely make a movie about it, because it's really messed up, though, in a way. But I mean, it's also beautiful. And I do know her in the here and now, and we're friends. And I've kind of told her, like, I've told her, like, you're like, I keep a very, very, very I'm more friends with her mom, actually, ironically enough. And her mom knows she's in these projects, and knows about me, and knows what we went through. But I just tried to, like, just say, hey, you're in this projects, you're a time soldier. I told her, and she's like, yeah, but I get it. Like, she's like, I believe you, but I'm also, like, trying to figure out my life. Like, she's, like, turning into a young woman, like, during the, like, the early years of womanhood, and figuring out her life. And obviously, like, figuring out being a time traveler and stuff, figuring out what you're going to do for a living, and where you're going to live and stuff like that, and all that comes first. So maybe someday she'll dive into it. There's a lot of people who remember her too. Like, she was involved in a lot of heavy duty things. But that's what ended up saving me, and that's a big part of my story, I guess. Is like, so even though they tried to use love against me and make me think it made me weak or something like that, it did work for a while. But eventually, just when I felt like actual real love again, like, this saw that this person cared about me, and that they would go out on a limb for me. I mean, she would basically take a bullet for me, right? You didn't get much of that in that environment, and when you got that, it like, really affected you. It really affected you, because people didn't care about each other like that in that environment. So that's Montauk stuff. And I guess, to do the segue into to the music aspect of things, which I think is a good part, is it took me there's a year, maybe two, where I was getting memories back, where it didn't come to me. I didn't have the realization yet that they took music from me and stuff. Like, I didn't realize that had happened to me. And what kind of started opening the floodgates for that is Preston Nichols, who is, I want to be clear about this, who's probably the most prolific abuser of children to ever walk the earth. Like, and if he wasn't, whoever's competing with that, holy shit. Like, so I want to be clear, like, he wrote books, they have some factual information in them and stuff, but I want to be clear, I do not condone that man at all. But I read this book by him called the Music of Time, which you can find on the internet for free pretty easily. Don't buy it. Fuck Peter Moon. Um, and basically, the book detailed how Montauk was involved with the music industry. Like, it was involved with um, making songs, using songs to mind and control people. He worked with Phil Spector and all this wild stuff. And he explained in the book how music has a psychic output, and we don't realize it. It's a psychic output that gets recorded on the record. So, like, if and because, like, okay, we have our left brain is our psychic brain, and we're not in tune to it. So even though we don't pick up on it on a conscious level, we do pick up on it on a subconscious level. And that's how they use it to mind control people. They put these messages in the songs that do certain things, that make certain things happen. And they've used it to social engineer society and make certain things happen and make certain moments in history happen and make people think, honestly, like a lot of it's just like nationalism, like trying to make like the CIA and like America and stuff like that look good, like they do with Hollywood and stuff like that. Um, but it's yeah, I found out it took a while for it to hit me, and then the moment that it did hit me was I sat down at a piano one time and I started playing like on accident, basically. "You Belong to Me," which is a song, you know, it was first done by the Duprees. Bob Dylan did it in a soundtrack for a movie. It's been covered by all sorts of people. But basically, it's a song I wrote at Montauk. And the memories kind of like it hit me. And I actually wrote that one about Cassandra. And, you know, I don't know if he likes me talking about him and bring it up again just because it collaborates my testimony. John Whitberg told me that he remembered hearing me sing that song to her, and that he basically collaborated with the fact that he remembered that I wrote that song too. He remembered it, and there's other people that remember, like Jimmy Eat World, The Middle. That song's me. There's all these songs, and like some of the songs that I found out that I wrote, it's from other people telling me. Like, I remember you wrote this song. I remember you wrote that song, and so I wrote a lot of music at Montauk, so that's important. But also, um, Dennis Pop and Max Martin. I work with those guys a lot. Are you familiar with who they are at all?
No, who's that? Sorry.
So Max Martin, and I want to can I show a picture of these guys? Do you mind?
Yeah, have you got them there? You can just present.
Yeah,
So,
I'm gonna show real quick here. Oh, one of them it doesn't gonna want me to show. It doesn't want me to show. Well, here's Max Martin.
okay, I'm gonna add him.
So Max Martin worked with this guy Dennis Pop. He was the protege, like apprentice of Dennis Pop. Dennis Pop was responsible for Ace of Base, Britney Spears, NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys, and all these other people, and they've made some like more hits than like anyone basically. Max Martin and Dennis Pop. For some reason, the file that I saved of Dennis Pop doesn't want to show, so I'm just gonna find a picture of him and kind of show it. Um,
Okay, no worries.
um,
Wow.
Here, let's do a screen share real quick.
Should
I'll
I
present.
remove this?
Yeah, here, just share screen. Um, Allow. And then share the screen. And then so this is Dennis Pop. And so this is the guy that basically these guys were both in satanic heavy metal bands. Dennis Pop and Max Martin. And through whatever, I don't know how, but all right, we don't need to share this anymore. I don't know how, but they got involved with this time travel cult called Ordo Tempulum Nephilim. And Ordo Tempulum Nephilim is involved with the Nephilim, which, from what I understand, and I want to be clear, do another interview with me 2 or 3 years from now, or maybe even a year from now, and I'll probably remember a lot of details that I don't remember now about this. A lot of it's really fuzzy. I'm going to be real about that. But I know but everything I'm telling you is real, though. The stuff that I do remember, there's a lot of stuff where I kind of have to fill in the blanks because I don't know what's going on, because I don't have the context. But from what I understand, the Nephilim are like half Anunnaki, like Zahamin, like the humanoid ET that were responsible for creating humanity or whatever. They're half that and half human, from what I understand. They're like hybrids or something like that. Uh, don't quote me on that. I might be wrong. There's other people that understand like the ET breeds and stuff like that better than me. Like my alters probably understand it perfectly well, but I don't. All I know is like they're like. I remember seeing them. They're tall. They're wraith-like. Their skin kind of changes colors with their moods. Um, they look human, but like I said, they're like wraith-like. and flowy. That's the only other word. That's the only. It's kind of wrong. It's not. They're like flowy. They walk different. They behave different. It's like, you know how like a hummingbird is in a different time space because of how
Yeah.
I feel like they're in a different time space. So like they appear, they move weird when you look like jerky. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's weird if you're a human being interacting with them. Um, but yeah, they got involved with this cult, and they basically Ordo Temple of Nephilim is, it's like, think of Midsummer. There's a movie called Midsummer where it's like this weird Swedish cult that lives in the middle of nowhere, and they do all these weird rituals and stuff like that. It's like that, but with time travel and aliens. Like I don't know how to explain it other than that. Like and blood sacrifices and adrenochrome and stuff. And so, like I said, there's the Montauk world of things where I made a bunch of music there, tons of music there. Some of it modern, some of it older music, but I made a lot of
So
music
when you
there.
say, if you don't mind, let me just ask you, when you say you made music, did you do the complete spectrum of it? For example, the lyrics, um,
It depends on the song.
the
I had
vocals?
There was a music room there with drums and um all these different instruments and stuff like that, and I would work on music with other people. Um, you know, uh, like I'm not the only person that had music stolen from them at Montauk. You know, John Lipberg would be an example. I keep on saying his name. I gotta stop talking about my brother, man. He probably would hate that I'm talking about him so much. But it's just true. It was him, and like there are other people there. Well, for example, I mean, Mac Miller was there. This is a crazy thing. Okay, check this out, people. This is gonna sound totally fucking bananas. I know, but it's true. Janis Joplin was a time soldier. So was Mac Miller, the rapper. And get this, they were trauma twins at Montauk. They were trauma twinned. So they were a couple. Janis Joplin and Mac Miller. Talk about a fucking power couple there. And they had different names. And their original, I can't remember Janice's original
Wow.
name, her original life, but but Mac Miller's original name is literally, get this, Bobby McGee. And Bobby McGee is literally about Mac Miller. Now, she rewrote that song on the Here and Now. She basically rechanneled her own song and rewrote it. She probably thinks it's inspired by other stuff. Um, but like that's what that song's about. And I don't think she remembered Montauk in her life. In fact, I think that's a lot of the reason why they die at 27 is because your memories come a little bit after that. And if you're, it's one thing if you're somebody like me who's more obscure, but then they couldn't allow that to happen, so they kill him. But
Mm.
yeah,
I
they
was,
came. Sorry.
mm. No, I just wanted to say, about the 27 Club. I've often wondered about the deeper
It
truth
it
around
has to do
that.
with Baal, worshiping Baal, and when you sell your soul to these music industry people, you have this agreement with them that you're gonna give yourself back to them at 27, and you usually don't understand what you're agreeing to and what's going on. That's a big part of what they do. They manipulate people, but basically, you get sacrificed to Baal. It's sacrifice. This A lot of it's connected to Baal worship, and the cult of Baal. And like I don't know if you've ever like seen the things where they're sacrificing like babies and stuff like that to Baal. It's all connected to that. And like the reason why there are humans that are addicted to adrenochrome is because it's just monkey see, monkey do. We're copying the aliens. The adrenochrome is an ET drug. They're the ones who first started consuming adrenochrome. We just found out about it, started doing it too, and we're just, you know what I mean? Like that's basically where it comes from. Three cubics. Yeah, I can't remember.
Wow.
There's a lot of different. I wish my memory was clear. There's a lot of weird. There's so many reasons for the 27 number, and I can basically or not remember any of them. That could be one of them. But yeah, it does have to do with Baal worship and Baal temples, and so um, what their studio is called, it is Chiron Studios, which different people pronounce it different way. Chiron. I'm
Mm.
not sure if I'm saying it right. I pronounce it Chiron. Um, but basically,
Hold on, yeah.
it, yeah, it's a god, a Greek god who was musical, who healed, but he was immortal and he longed for death and he couldn't die. And Dennis Pop's recording studio in Stockholm, Sweden, was called Chiron Studios because they have clones of all of the, so Britney Spears, the NSYNC boys, the Backstreet Boys, all these different people that work with them, that sign contracts with them. Yeah, Montauk as well. Yes, um, they they um, they have clones of them, and so this is where it gets creepy and weird. It's like, as this is dark, people. As you're working on a song up there, like Britney Spears is working on a song, underneath there's this weird ordo nephilim blood sex ritual where there are these a large group of men doing stuff to a clone of her that is her, okay, just time displaced and in a clone body. And they do this, they did this with me too, they did this with a lot of people, the same thing. And basically they do this sex blood ritual where they assault you, and in the moment of climax they kill you. And that creates a different type of adrenochrome that has, it acts as an aphrodisiac. So they use that in their rituals. Yes. So a lot of times when you get to the rituals, they'll pass you. Like I remember I would get to on Centurion 5, which is a planet that this came later when I was an adult. I got taken there, and I did not remember all this other stuff that happened before. I didn't remember it at all. Got memory, had amnesia of it. But basically, when I was on Centurion 5, when I got there, it was presented to me as, look, this is a music time project, and you're so talented. You're the best. They sell it to you on a silver platter, like you in your normal life, no one's going to discover your music, unfortunately. But we see your greatness, and we'll make sure your music's heard throughout time and space on other planets, yada yada yada. There's human. Check this out. There's like a screen, and they even show you like, these are all the planets and stuff like that. Your music's gonna be all over the place. You won't get credit for it, but the songs you make, billions, trillions of people will hear them. You know what I mean? It'll become the fabric of the universe, basically, your music. People will get married to your songs. People will fall in love to your songs. Like, they really sell it to you, and to make you agree. And they call it a residency, and they basically make it seem like it's a privilege. That's the way they present it to you when they take you. They take you, you're sleeping or something like that one night, and you wake up there. And how it happened with me is, like, I remember I got taken. We were there. There was it's multiple times. I was there multiple times, but like I remember one of the times, like I was taken there with this dude Ghost Effects that I used to work on music with, and we both had a residency together. And we had zip ties. We were tied in these chairs and the zip ties, and then they brought us to this weird, like, building, like a circle-like building on like the side of this mountain. And there's just like one lady there at this counter, and just like it's like a cafeteria, and it's like basically empty. And who's there but Max Martin and Dennis Pop sitting at this table. And it was really awkward because Ghost, I remember he had to use the bathroom. He went and took a whiz. And I'm just sitting there with him. Can you tell me what's going on here? And now we want to wait for your friend. And basically, then when he came out, they explained what was going on, and that we were making like we're like this musical duo, and we're great. The same spiel they always give that you don't remember because it's brand new to you again every time. That's how they fuck with you, like big time. And they get off on it too. They really get off on the fact that they keep using you over and over again, and you don't even remember it. Like these guys are a lot of times amused by it in a really sick way. But anyway,
Wow.
yeah, seriously, it's fucked up. But basically they sell you on it, and but when you get there, this is something that's new. I've talked about this a lot. How when I got to the studio, it was one of the times, I'm sure it's every time, but this is me just remembering one of the times. I'm sitting with Dennis Pop, that guy I showed you a picture of. He looks exactly like that. We're at this giant recording console with a computer screen. There's this little machine, and it makes a little whirring noise, and this powder comes out, and it's on this little plate. He's like, try this out. I'm like, what is this? And he's like, it's A7929B or something. I don't remember, but some, like, basically just letters and numbers. I'm like, what are we trying to party or something? Or are we trying to get some work done? And he's like, this hooks up your brain to the computer, so you can telepathically link with the computer. All right, and that's how he tricked me into doing the synthetic adrenochrome. That's what that
Wow.
was. And that's the first time I've ever publicly said this, because I did not realize. I had the memory back, the white powder, and all that stuff, and I feel like an idiot for not realizing it. That was how they got me hooked on adrenochrome. And once you're hooked on that, man, you can throw all your windows out your morals out the window. Like it kind of turns you into a monster, basically. This adrenochrome substance. And once they give you the analog of it instead of the synthetic version of it, it's more potent, and you get really addicted to it. And that's how they kept you
So
there too.
what is the synthetic version versus the real version? Because the real version, of course, from what we understand, is the blood and
Yeah,
adrenaline
it's
of
it. They can just make it with, they can print it with a replicator,
right.
because replicas are real, or replicators are real. But there's certain stuff they can't. Like, they would probably just replicate actual adrenochrome if they could do that, but it doesn't have the loosh. It doesn't have all the stuff in it that they cannot replicate, right? Like all the spiritual energy and all this other stuff. They can replicate some of the substances in there, but it's basically like akin to having a watered down substance, like beer to liquor, I guess, almost in a way. But
Right.
except, no matter how much of the synthetic you do, it's never quite like the analog. And
Yeah.
but yeah, when you get to the rituals, I remembered, like, because they would make me, and I guess I willingly did it, which I have to own up to, because they got me to willingly do it. But in a way, so was I manipulated? Yes. But did I also willingly participate? Yes. Oh my god. There's three guys to the left of me. There's three guys to the right to me, and there's one in the middle. And they're wearing these masks where it's a beak, but you can see like their mouth, and their mouths are open, and you can't see their faces though. It's like a black. I'm sure they can see through it, but like a black cloth. And it looks like bird like, but like almost like plague dot. They were like, I think they might even wear like the goggles and everything. But like, yeah, you can't see them, who they are. And basically they give you the they basically pass they pass around a goblet full of the aphrodisiac chrome, the sexual one, the kind that they use in a ritual, they got from a ritual. And there's a woman behind them lying on an altar. um and what's crazy is some of the women were forced to do it, I think, but 90% of the time they willingly participated in it, because they knew that they weren't actually going to die, and they weren't afraid, and they thought it was a privilege. Insane, I know, but they're also on adrenochrome, right? So you're crazy, you're psychotic at that point when you're on that substance. You're not making sense anymore. That's part of how they really get normal, good people, good conscious people would never do the kinds of things that we did in these programs. This is part of how they do it, is they get you hooked on the substance unwittingly. But
Yeah.
basically, once you drink the blood, you get all jacked up and aroused and stuff, and you do there's a group ritual on the woman, a sexual ritual. You don't want to get too graphic with it. And then, of course, in the moment of climax, you cut her head off and gather all the blood, drink the blood, and it's messed up. And of course, they have the technology to just bring that woman back, and she can do it again the next day if she wants to. It's crazy. And so it's just an example of like this technology. These people, they go like, it's so
So
hard to
are you
describe that people haven't seen it. That it makes you crazy, right? Like the head and that
yeah.
power they have, they're insane. They're psychotic.
I want to try and understand this though, what you're talking about, what you mentioned earlier on when you were talking about Britney Spears, for example. She'd be attending or she'd be singing in one of her concerts, and literally beneath her,
It'd be
there's
either
a
in not a concert, during the actual recordings. And so what Dennis Pop had
recording.
in his recording studio was a hit light. It was above him. There's a red light that would turn on. He called it the hit light. And he said it meant we're making a hit song. The juices are flowing. We got to hit the ground running. But what it really meant is the loosh harvesting is happening. It's time to really record the song because we're gathering the loosh energy and putting it into the song. And so that's even documented in documentaries about Dennis Pop, the hit light, the red hit light that was above him that would turn on. So that had to do with the ritual loosh harvesting. And, we would do.
Would it be a similar type of sacrifice as what you've just explained that was going on?
Yep. Pretty much the exact same thing.
So
And
she would be, one of her clones would be sacrificing itself. And then in the way you
and
explain,
Brittany in another room, totally unaware, just singing away, having a good old time, not aware that she's being used in this manner. And for me, when I first got there, I was a little boy, so I've had these guys kidnap me multiple times since from when I was a little boy to when I was an adult. And ironically enough, I think the last time they took me was when I was 27. um,
wow.
yeah, don't quote me on that, but I feel like that might have been the last time they took me. But they anyway, I'm distracting myself here. I have ADD. Oh yeah, okay. So I would wake up in a cloning tube thing. This guy would be there. He seemed like he was Italian to me. Did not seem Swedish. And he'd be like, "Hey, little boy, do you remember me?" I'd be like, "No," and he'd laugh. Like I said, they're really sickly amused by that. And be like, "Okay, come on, boy who sings." They just call me the boy who sings. They didn't even call me by my name or anything. They just call me the boy who sings. They wouldn't even give me the dignity of calling me a name. And when I would see Brittany, because they'd bring me into the studio, and I would help write melodies. I didn't compose the whole songs, but they took melodies from me. Max Martin says melody is king, melody is key. Well, I would write like the melodies for the songs, and then they would work up the songs from there. And a lot of times it was like not like me just flat out making the whole song and them stealing it from me. It was more of like I am attached to sun, raw energy, creative power energy, and in their cult they know this, that I'm connected to that, and they desire that energy and they want to put it in their music and use it for their rituals. So that's
Ah,
the reason why they take me and use me, is because think about it, sun energy is powerful, it's creator energy, creative energy, power. And so
yeah,
it's like I don't think I make better music than there's like music is like humans are good at music. We're known throughout the like the colonies, like even to ETs and stuff that don't necessarily really like humans that much. They'll be like, yeah, but their music slaps though. Like aliens like our music, believe it or not. Like maybe not all of it because it's all over the place, but they admit that we have prowess as like artists and musicians and stuff like that. So like, but the reason why they use my music, even though like I'm not the only person who can write a nice catchy tune. It's a human ability. You know what I mean? It's because of my DNA, the fact that I'm connected to Christ's lineage, and then on a soul level, the fact that I'm connected to Ra energy, and the fact that I have a stronger psychic output than most average
right.
humans. So when I record a song and I put the song out there, the psychic. So like for instance, I'll give an example. Chester Bennington, right? Great vocalist, Linkin Park, right? When you know the story behind him of how they killed him, I'm quite sure you know that, right? Well, I know
Yeah,
some of the background story on that a little deeper. I don't know how it all works, but if you're in the music industry, they when they sign you, they tell you we love your sound, we love what you're doing, and it's non-disclosure agreement stuff. So they tell you we love your sound, we love what you're doing, we want you to write your songs and put your songs on your record and play your songs, and maybe even a few of them will be hits. But we have some hits. We have this guy that writes music. We have a team that writes songs, hit songs, and they have a formula and they do it all scientifically and shit, and it works every time. They don't explain that it's time travel and all this crazy shit. They do not explain that to the musicians. They do not know the details. They're just like, you just gotta sing this song and this song, and usually they're great songs. They're like, all right, you know what I mean? And like I said, they do not. Most musicians, I don't. Chester probably did not know where the song. He probably just figured there's some guy in LA somewhere who just writes really good songs or something. He probably wondered himself. I don't know, but what I can tell you is this gets crazy. It's pretty deep. The reason why he's so great is because, and I guess, the reason why they use me for a lot of stuff too, but because even when people, so even if a person covers your song, like let's say that you made a song, right, and has a super strong psychic output, right, and it's like latches onto people, which they love because that makes a hit, that helps make a hit song. Like a song where the psychic output is so strong that like when you're walking and you hear it on the radios, you go, whoa, have you ever had that happen to you where you hear a song and it just catches you because
Yeah, for
you
sure.
feel it, you're like, wow, this is something else, and it's always a magical experience when it happens to you, right? Well, not everybody can do that. Chester Bennington would be an example of somebody where as soon as you hear that man sing the very first fucking note, right, you're like, whoa, this is not a normal goosebumps, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, this is not a normal vocalist. This guy is like on a whole nother level. Like, he's putting his whole heart into it. You know what I mean? And so that's why they gave songs to him, and he was part of the music industry. And what's going to happen is he was going to do his own music career solo, more so. I guess he had one album that he did solo, and he had a like name for the project and stuff. But he was going to do more of that. Of course, they killed him, so he couldn't. And I made some of the songs that they're going to give to him. And it was "Forever Alone" by this band called Smash Everything into Pieces. So in alternate realities, they gave that song to Chester Bennington. Like, yeah, he was exposing the trafficking exactly. And he was deep down the rabbit hole, and if he wasn't too Ordo Temple Nephilim, he would have gotten there. You know what I mean? Which is very dangerous to them, especially considering he was famous with millions of adoring fans. That's kind of a huge platform. That is a danger to him. So they had to take him out. I'm not sure what he remembered. He might have just figured out on a surface level all the nasty stuff that's going on. You know what I mean? And
How
not
old was
realize
he doing? How old was he when he died? Do we know? He
uh,
wasn't 27, right?
I don't
I
think he
don't believe.
was.
Yeah. Wow.
Let's look up death age. I'm just looking real quick. 41 years, so he's a bit older.
People.
But that's the reason why. It's because like
Yeah.
I don't, when you look at him, this is obviously somebody who has a moral compass, who wanted to do something about trafficking and stuff. So I find it hard to believe that he was participating in like adrenochrome parties and stuff like that, and knew on a surface level like he was not. So I don't think he really sold his soul in that way, and I think that's something that's important for people to recognize is they're not so omnipresent that every band with some clout or with millions of followers is the psyop, is controlled by them. There are people out there who just make good music. It's not all them. But I'm just saying, like, literally 70, if you hear it on the radio, it's almost certainly them. You won't, you know what I mean? Like, they control what's on the radio.
Right.
With the internet and more independent outlets that we have now, it's breaking through them being the sole proprietors of who controls music. But
Right.
they still have a grip to songwriter. Hold on, Swedish. There's this. Hold on one second. So there's this guy that they found out. It came out recently. I'm trying to find the article on it. It was a Guardian article, I think. But basically, yeah, okay, found it. Perfect. So what they're doing right now with a lot of the music that they steal from assets at Chiron, or because there's Chiron on Earth, which is now they changed it to Maritone Studios, I think, but there's still Chiron on Centurion 5 Aurelia or whatever. There's a recording studio there that's in this. It's in the middle of the jungle on the side of a mountain. There is a subway that you can get on and out, you get in and out from, but it's very isolated. And there's a facility there. Fuck, what was I gonna say? I'm distracted. What was I talking about?
It's all good. No, it's all good. It's all. We were talking about Chiron, the studios, Chester Bennington. Um,
Yeah. So did you know,
yeah.
if you notice the song? I guess I know this is a different train of thought, but oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. But I guess this is something to bring up. Look at the song "Forever Alone" by the band Smash Everything into Pieces, or Smash into Pieces, or whatever. And one thing you'll see is the music video is literally just film of a breakaway planet. There's floating cars and stuff in it, and that's literally it. The music video is not got that much going on to it, but it shows a military planet, and then it sounds just like "Blinding Lights" by The Weeknd. It's like the same song. And I remember one of the things that Preston Nichols told me at Montauk. I was writing all these songs that had this chord progression that's kind of like a like the love chord progression of C, A minor, F, G, and you can transpose that into different keys, but that's what it is. And I was like, man, all these songs sound the same, Preston. Like, I'm a hack. Like, I'm not even. He's like, no, they're great songs. It doesn't matter if they sound all the same because it's gonna be different people singing them. No one's gonna know. Like, no one's gonna know. It's just
Wow.
the same guy writing the same song over and over again. It's just a little different. Go ahead. It sounds great. Keep reusing it as much as possible. Is what he told me. And so I think that's sort of like the concept that we had, that Forever Alone and Blinding Lights by The Weeknd took on. It's like they sound like exactly the same song, but they were able to use it twice, and just all they did was just add a guitar to Blinding
Yeah.
Lights and change the lyrics a little bit. I mean, it basically sounds like the same song, and even fans know it. And like the singer, if you see in the comments section of them, there'll be people like, "Oh yeah, Chester Bennington died, and you guys kind of helped fill the void because like they sound like
Yeah.
him." That's why they're singing songs that Chester was supposed to sing, that I wanted Chester to sing. I was actually pissed. Like the version of me, I don't know if it like when I found out about this, when I remembered this, when I remember that Chester was supposed to sing those songs, and this hack guy in this fucking band is the one who was given to. And some of their songs are terrible, by the way. They're a terrible band in my opinion. But some of the songs are great, and most of them are songs that they did not write. I don't even think all of them are mine. I think some of them are other Centurion artists. But yeah, like you can just tell that like they you can hear it. Like Chester would have done it better. Chester would have really made the songs shine, and they kind of couldn't do that. And they probably figured they're gonna, because they probably, I don't, maybe they were told, maybe not, but like these songs were huge hits in alternate realities when they're given to Chester. Like Forever Alone, sung by Chester Bennington, forget about it. People ate it up. They're like, wow, this is crazy. Like, but
Yeah.
this weird random band from Europe that nobody knows about, where the singer just doesn't have that charisma, that energy that Chester had, didn't become a hit song in the same way in this reality, you know?
Wow. We're seeing a lot of the music industry go down right now. People like Diddy, people like, and also, I mean, and I know it's been in the comments earlier, Justin Bieber. I mean, he's really, what do you know about the current fall of the music industry, like the Biebers, the Diddies?
Well, unfortunately, some of it has to do with Amazon strong arming the film industry and the music industry and trying to take control of it. And so you got another situation where you think things are being cleared out, but it's just another bad actor making its way in, which happens a lot. That's how they psyop a lot. That's how they make a lot of bad things happen. Is the music industry is going down great. It's like, no, Amazon is trying to monopolize the entire thing and control all of it, and that's a big reason why we're seeing a lot of things play out the way they're playing out. But that doesn't mean that it's like the snake eating its own head. I mean, as long as we can expose them too, like this could backfire on them big time. Because I mean, what Diddy was doing and like all these other people, like that it's being exposed, what they're doing, it's real. The BBC especially, holy cow, what a den of just depravity, and just the BBC is one of the top offenders of employing really sick people. Like look at Jimmy Savile and stuff like that, and Gary
Yeah,
Glitter. The list
terrible.
goes on and on. Um,
Do you know Donald Marshall? Do you know about Donald Marshall actually?
Me and him don't get along very well, unfortunately. I do know about him. I think that a lot of his testimony is real, mixed in with, I don't know if it's delusion or if he's just full of himself or what, but like he tries to make it sound like he just writes all the hit songs. It's all him. And this is, we kind of got into a little tiff, honestly. I'll be real. I got in like a little, I communicated with him a little bit, and I told him about what happened to me, and he just was not very responsive. Like he seemed to not care. And I got mad. I was like, what, do you think that you're the only person who wakes up in cloning centers and has songs stolen from him and gets tortured and has all this crazy shit happen? Because you're not, and you shouldn't act like it. How dare you act like it? I'm like, there are tons of victims of this shit. Like, it's happening to tons of people. Like, why do you act like you're so special? That's where. So I believe that he has songs stolen from him and that he's in this and stuff like that. But I also don't agree with him on some of the stuff because, like, I know he didn't write all Britney Spears songs. He claims that. I know he didn't write all NSYNC songs. He claims that because I wrote some of them. So there's no way he could have written all their songs. So I think he exaggerates, and I don't know if it's because he believes in his own shit or it's because he's just trying to talk himself up. I don't know. I also have a problem with him staying in his own corner, not going on shows, not talking to people, not doing collaborative testimony with people, but yet constantly playing the victim. Not to be rude, but like if you had this stuff happen to you, yes, you are a victim. It sucks. That is a part of it. It's important to recognize that. But you gotta stand up and be a warrior and fight back against it. And you gotta work with the other people who went through the same stuff as you. And he's not doing that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a liar. I don't think he's ever said I'm a liar, but we don't get along. Let's put that.
Well, I think, whether you guys are getting along or not, what I'm seeing is you both have a lot of commonalities. So, and I know just also from a lot of other, and I don't know who the people are offhand, just hearing this stuff go on. I mean, never mind the secret space program stuff, which that's on a whole nother level, but just the satanic ritual abuse stuff, the child sacrifice, the cryptids, the underground facilities, the transhumanism, transgenderism, the forced transgenderism. That's what I'm talking about. That sort of stuff. It's there's a lot, and I think there's so much. It's only just the tip of the iceberg now. But and I always say this, okay, I started this channel in September 2020 when I first heard Jesse Zabota's testimony. And immediately I knew that I needed to reach out. And I did. And since then, she's been a regular on my channel. The stories of the lizards, the lizard beings, the shape shifting stuff, child hunting, child sacrifice, adrenochrome, kids being put in our food, crushed kids, that sort of stuff. This is normal for them. This is normal behavior that's been going on for the longest time. And it's amazing to hear more and more people like yourself with these, and I say crazy in inverted commas because for the normie, this is freaking crazy on another level, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you bring it across and you are able to share it and make it understandable for us.
Which
And
I
that is a
I
great
know
gift.
they absolutely hate.
Yeah,
The people that did this
that
to
is a
me
great gift.
absolutely hate the fact that I'm able to do that. And I think that they might be a
Yeah,
little bit scared. I don't know. I hope they are.
yeah. Well, it's like, and I've got to ask you, oh my gosh, don't tell me Pink Floyd. Oh no, don't tell me they all been in clothing centers. I would die if David Gilmour.
Oh yeah, big
Please tell
time.
me I'm wrong.
Took into the Tavistock Institute. Yeah, they're totally like, yeah, man. Like, they're also got weird stuff going on. Pink Floyd does, and the Beatles. Have you ever seen the album cover of the Beatles with all the dead babies and blood and stuff? Have you seen that? You people know about this?
Yes. Well, which one is it again? Which
It
one
got
is
pulled off.
it?
It got pulled off the shelves right away. But Beatles. I'll just look up dead baby cover. Cover. Um. All right. So this is a real, actual. Here, I'm gonna try to find a nice big picture of it. Um. Here, let me share my screen again. Screen. Share screen. Um, right here. I don't know how to make it bigger, or can I make it bigger? It's kind of small. Can you see that
Yeah,
though?
yeah.
So that's them wearing lab coats, okay, with a bunch of meat, with meat from a butcher shop, and like dolls to make it look like they're dead babies and there's blood all over them. And it's just a Beatles album cover. Like, what the fuck is this shit even? Now something that ties in here is I know for sure I have memories of John Lennon being a Montauk time soldier. I know John Lennon, all right, very well. His altar, one of his altars I know, and I think Paul as well. I don't know how it all works, but what I remember with John is we were part of a time mission in Southeast Asia. He was some sort of British general, and we built an underground facility, and it is bad. This underground facility, some of the most evil shit you could possibly ever fucking imagine happens at this underground facility. They're kidnapping and killing a lot of, at least back in the day, they were kidnapping and killing in snuff films and stuff like that. A lot of the children in the area, that were going missing and stuff like that, are literally getting bought from their parents, going, oh, we're gonna bring them to school in America. You're never gonna see them again, but they're gonna live a great life. Stuff like that. Like, yeah, man, because it was harder to track people back then. And this, I'm fairly certain that we were responsible, John Lennon and I, as a part of a Montauk Time Project, were part of setting up this place, which ironically, in other lifetimes, I ended up waking up there, living whole lifetimes, like a whole lifetime there, where I was tortured, where I was abused. Like, and then it's a long story, but, and then the memory that I have with Paul, which is fragmented, I would call it a video memory, but basically, I'm standing with him in this really nice mansion, and I'm about to leave, and I say something, da da da, and I say, "Good luck, David," and he looks at me pissed, and he goes, "Never call me that name again. I'm Paul now." No context. Guess yourself what that means. He's like, "Never call me that again. I'm Paul now." Like, he was pissed at me.
Who was David, though? What do you remember him as before?
I don't remember.
Right.
Like, it's just a screen memory. I call it a screen memory, or not a screen memory.
Okay. Right.
A video memory, because it's just a screen memory is a memory that's fake. Maybe this is a fake memory. I don't know. They do give people false memories, so I want to be clear on that, because I have zero context beyond just this memory, which I have a feeling it's real, just based on what I know. Like, well, okay, if John was there, which I know those memories are real because I've corroborated with other people that were at Montauk and they remember it too. Like, if he was there, then why wouldn't Paul have been there? And maybe Paul McCartney at some extent was like a time soldier who's aware of it, or I don't know. It's crazy to think about, right? And his Montauk name is David, but the name for his life is Paul McCartney, which maybe was all invented. Who knows? His name's David. His name's not David anymore. It's Paul. I have no idea. Or another thing that we would do, right, is I know that we would literally, if people were a problem in history, but we needed them to continue on in their role in order for history to play out the way we want to, if we like, because some people, if we didn't like what they're doing, well, just get rid of them, kill them somehow, and make it so people don't know it was a murder. Really, really fucking easy to do. But if we couldn't get rid of them because of the role that they played, but we needed them to act differently and make history play out differently, we could literally do a walk-in and take them over. So potentially what happened there was a Montauk time soldier was doing a walk-in on Paul McCartney to change history a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know, though. I don't. I'm guessing just as much as the audience is guessing, because I don't have the full memory. I try to be really clear about that when I'm making guesses. I try to be really clear about it. Like, the stuff I remember that's facts, try to be clear that this has happened and I remember it. And then the stuff that, like, kind of guessing, I try to be clear about it.
You were mentioning something in one of our off-air conversations about Avril Lavigne.
That's a tough thing to talk about. Evelyn, my trauma twin that I was talking about before, she's me and Evelyn's daughter. Her name was April at Montauk. We named her April. Just take the P and replace it with a V. That's her in the here and now. I don't think she's aware of what she's being used for. I don't think she's aware but basically, like, she's definitely like MK Ultra, and she's definitely making the Time corporations millions of dollars, and is a great asset to them. And in a way, I'm very proud of her. Um, one of her songs is actually one of my songs, and it's really sad. I'm with you, and it's actually about her. It's about her. It's about how, even though I don't know what they did, because she got taken from me. I had 3 daughters with Evelyn that I recall. Two of them I got to be with in Montauk. Got to kind of be in their lives, but April I never got to be with. She got taken from me right away, and that song was about how, even though I don't know where you are or what you're doing, I love you. And the thing that I would tell her if I could is, even though I couldn't be with you, I always carried my love for you in my heart. And it's sad because she's such a public person, and she's right there, and she's my daughter, but she's totally inaccessible to me. Do you know what that feels like? And
Yeah.
if I even had the chance to tell her you're my daughter, like, would she fucking believe me? Like, probably not. It's just really hard.
I can well believe you with that. It's such a crazy, almost simulation. It's like they've taken their AI ways that clearly have no emotion, and they've installed it into us humans, and really it
I
cuts
honestly
us.
think it's the fucking, sorry to be so crass, but the reptiles and the Zahami, the Anunnaki, that are doing blood rituals and just treating us like that way, like, and then we emulate that. Like, I'll give you an example of the monkey see, monkey do kind of thing going on here on a micro level. This is a macro level with the ET, but on a micro level, slavery is like a ET concept that we're emulating, right? Like enslaving other people, like when the whites of South Africa and the United States enslaved the local populations and stuff like that. Um, there's a situation in the United States where, when we finally freed the slaves, I think it was John, I can't remember his name, but some politician, he had the brilliant idea, which on paper is a brilliant idea, honestly. So why don't we send a bunch of the African Americans that are here, that we took them against their will? Let's give them a boat. Let's send them to Africa, and let's give them their own country, and they can emulate the United States and have their, like, democratic American values. It'll be this awesome thing. We'll do this great thing. And what ended up happening is, when they got back there, they enslaved the local population, because they're like, oh, we don't want to work. We'll make the other people work for us. That's what the white people did, and it worked out great for them. So, like, there's this whole thing where we copy what we see as humans. We copy what we see, and unfortunately, sometimes evil wins over our moral compasses. I'm sure the Liberians that started that country, that were enslaving their former brothers and sisters of Africa, knew that what they're doing was wrong. They had to have known it because it happened to them, right? But they just knew the benefits of it, and that outweighed their moral compass. So that whole idea of power corrupts, man, it's so true. It's so true. Your microphone's off.
Sorry. It sure as heck does, that whole power thing, It's so clear to me how they use that, from birth, the trauma bonding, the trauma they cause, no love. And that's why you're not allowed to feel love and receive love. They'll make you sing about it and lament about it and write the most beautiful love songs, because
Yeah.
in those songs we know that I mean, as a creator myself, and I'm not a songwriter, but I create other stuff, programs and things, right? Um, but in that moment of that creation, really, it is God's creation flowing. So from the deepest part of your emotions, you are able to create beautiful music. So it's almost like they create this trauma, deliberate trauma, and
Mm-hmm.
from the depths of your soul, you are crying out. And they use that to A, get their loosh, and B, get their money, right? From the masses, because they make money. Your song, of course, is going to form a fiber of the universe, right? It's going to be interwoven into the very fiber of the
Yeah,
universe.
I think about it like,
Um,
the song I wrote, I Can't Help Falling in Love with You, right? I wrote that song. Um, and I also wrote Unchained Melody. Um, and what I would like people to do, if they feel like it, you can compare the lyrics of those songs, the themes. It says that they're written by different people, and that's a good example of what Preston said. People know it's the same guy writing the same song over and over again, basically, because there'll be different people singing it. But I mean, think about how many people have got married to "I Can't Help Falling in Love with You." Think how many weddings that's played at and stuff like that. It gets overwhelming to think about what my songs have done. They're the fabric of people's lives. A lot of the songs that I've made, and that's why even with all the darkness and all the crap that they did to me, there's this weird part of it not being like when Max Martin and Dennis said it's a privilege for your songs to be heard by so many people and stuff. I mean, I don't know about the price I paid, but I mean, it is an amazing thing. Even if it is other people singing the songs, and I don't get the credit for it, it's still an amazing thing to me. It's like like I've impacted so many people's lives. Whether I get the credit for it or not, that's the facts.
wow, you have, you have. And, I think part of this is for you. You can't, I mean, your story, the first time I heard the story, just to backtrack, or a similar story, was listening to Tom Althouse, who's, I mean, he's had proof that he's the actual creator of the movie The Matrix, and that it came from the Immortals originally, right? And he's got the whole scripts and everything. But then they've got Sophia Stewart also claiming, as well as Wachowski brothers or Warner Brothers, right? Also claiming that's who they've given it to, but or they've given credit to for that. So it's very, very interesting, right? When you look at that, how they take that and how they've tortured him, literally traumatized him by putting, they'll put like his date of birth there, the time of birth. They'll, you know, give him clues. And I'm sure probably what they're doing is they're using maybe 70 or 80% of his material that he created, added a few other stuff in there,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that everyone else has a bit of talent, or the other people also have a little bit of claim to it as well. It's a big fat confusion
Yeah, you think
that
these
they create.
people they just have no originality. They can't come create anything. They can't come up with any of their own ideas. That's what it seems like to me. Like they have to always have other people do it for them. It's like a real sign of weakness, if you ask me. Like that's not a sign of strength. Like you gotta get other people to like do all like the heavy lifting of all this stuff for you because you can't put out music yourself. You can't do this yourself. You got to steal the product from them. I don't know. I just think it speaks about how hollow they are and how they like to puff out their chests and look like they're so strong, but really they're just bullies hiding behind technology.
That's exactly what it is. That's all they are, bullies. That's all they are. And one on its own is never going to come for you. It's always gang stalking or following you in 70,000 cars, right? And there's never just one person coming for you when they're gang stalking you. It's 10 or 15 or 20, right? So there's this whole cowards. That's how cowards behave. And, and this is what I'm saying. It's so good to know that guys like yourself are actually standing up and speaking about this and sharing with us um, what's really going on, because it is going on. All we have to do is look at how crazy these people. Poor Britney Spears. I mean, all of us know there's some crazy ass crap that's been going on there. I mean, so many of these people in the music industry, you just see them crumbling before your eyes, actors, actresses. And then you see like clones. I mean, Taylor Swift is the one that I see that looks just like LaVey's granddaughter. I mean,
Mhm.
it's complete clones of each other, so what's really going on there type of thing, there's
You know,
definitely
something
something.
interesting about Zena LeVay is she recently became Christian, and she's done a full 360 and has disavowed her family and stuff. So she's actually publicly against the Satanic Church now, and she did an interview with. I'm not a big fan of the guy, but she did an interview with Jordan Peterson about it. So that's kind of a lot of people don't know that. I don't know what's going on there. If they might just look a lot like each other and be related or be clones. I'm not sure, but that's just something to be noted. Is like Zena LeVay is publicly anti-satanic now, and she disavows her her past associations with the Satanic Church, which is pretty wild. She's reformed now. She's like what they call born again.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's wonderful, but do you think that's genuine though? Because I
Not
think
sure.
some of
I just think
these
it's important to worth noting. It might be just because she's afraid of the public perception and the fact that a lot of people are talking about her right now. She probably knows that everyone's saying she looks like Taylor Swift. She has to know that, right? So maybe that's why she did it. Yeah, these people are pretty good at PR, public relations, like knowing when to say things and how to act and stuff. They're pretty good at it. So that could be what it is. But I just think
yeah,
it was important to bring up that she's like in this public sphere still. She's still out there.
and let's never forget how they use religion. Let's never forget, I mean, Christianity has to be one of the most, probably the most infiltrated religion that there is, when it comes to this stuff, because they're
Well,
using
honestly,
always the
like
dark side of Christianity.
this is like one of the things that's really hard to talk about because it can get dark. I hate it when people are like anti Christian or anti-Jew or anti-Muslim. I really like don't like that, but at the same time it's important to recognize that all the Abrahamic faiths, all three of them, the facts are they're created by mind control, and the deep center of it is like basically Satanism. All three of them, it's all the same. Oh, and the Mormons too, same. Like
Yeah,
so it's
Mormons,
kind of it's
the Mormon,
in my opinion, like religious is dangerous, but also like when you're like, oh yeah, I hate all the Jews or I hate all the Muslims or Christians or whatever. Like to be hateful of religion is also extremely dangerous. It's a really touchy subject, honestly, for good reasons.
Tammy's asking if you can list the three you're referring to.
Oh, the three Abrahamic religions. Well,
Yeah,
Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, honestly,
yeah.
or Catholicism, especially Catholicism. Catholicism is just
Catholicism, in my
rotten
opinion, is
to
a
the
root.
core. Rotten to
Yeah,
the core. They are the biggest dealers from what I remember, at least in like the 80s and 90s, and I don't know about now, but they're some of the biggest traffickers of adrenochrome out there. The underneath the Vatican, there's a black pope, which is
yeah,
yeah, and they're killing babies, drinking their blood. Like they sacrifice babies every day. Every day, babies getting killed on this altar down there. It's covered in blood. Like that's what I remember about it. I didn't like work there, but I had been there before. And yeah, I don't know the details about Islam as much. I just know it's true. And the same thing with Judaism. I don't remember encountering that as much, but I do remember from Montauk. I remember encountering the Catholic priests and Catholic and popes were came to Montauk and stuff like that. Scientology. I remember they have time program stuff, weird time travel time programs,
yeah.
colonies on other planets and stuff like that. Scientologies do. They have a lot of money and a lot of power. Mormons. I mean, unfortunately, here's the thing: is like I feel like it's very simple. Like spirituality is a wonderful, beautiful thing. Um, People will find Jesus. I've seen it do so many good things for so many people. It can be a wonderful experience for people. And I think that it's just to the point where when people try to be like, hey, no, 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 you gotta listen to me tell you what it is in this book right here. And if you don't listen to this, you're going to hell. That's silly. You should be able to figure it out on your own. Like God, like this whole idea, like you just need to trust God, and God won't provide any evidence for you. Anybody who's followed a
Exactly.
synchronicity rabbit hole, like if you ever have synchronicities and you keep following them and your life keeps getting better and better, God is trying to communicate with you all the time. You just got to get your head up, look up for a little bit, look around you, and see the signs. Like God's not gonna like call you on the phone, be like, "Hey, buddy, it's God. You need to go to that concert tonight, or you're gonna meet the girl of your dreams." He's not gonna do that, but he's gonna do weird little things like you seeing angel numbers when you look at the same time you get the flyer for the show and like weird shit. He'll like try to give you little hints that you need to go to this. He won't be able to literally call you on the phone, like you know what I mean. But like so like or she. I think it's a disservice to God to call God he. I think it's more complicated than that. And honestly, it seems more like a she to me. It birthed everything. I don't know, but anyway, I'm getting yeah, it's a whole other subject. But
Well,
no,
I think the mind of God would be masculine. That's the seed, and then the feminine principle obviously is the creation. So nature.
yes,
So
yin and
Mother
yang,
Nature is the creative principle, and that's the
a
feminine
bit of a bit
aspect.
of both,
Yeah,
a healthy
exactly.
dose of both, which all beings really have, even if we kind of teeter more a different way or whatever. We all embody masculine and feminine elements. It's a part of nature that manifests everywhere in the Kabbalion. It's talked about. Um, yeah, I don't know if you're
Yeah.
familiar with that book at all. It's a Masonic text that is actually pretty good. Like I don't
What's
think
it
there's
called?
anything bad in it. The Kabbalion,
Oh, the Kabbalion.
Hermes Trismegistus
Huh?
the Third wrote it. Who is related to like Thoth or whatever?
Mm,
Hermes, one of the ancient gods. The guy who Thoth was the guy who went around in a UFO and tried to help everybody after the calamity. Um,
right.
yeah, some interesting history we have that when you look into it and find out the real stories, the
Yeah,
real
yeah.
truth.
I would love to. I would actually love to go more into that part of our history as well. I think there's so much that we as humanity need to discover.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
it was a whole different world before that flood happened. It reset the whole planet. And then the mud floods and stuff like that too. Like and I can tell you a lot of that's like has to do with Montauk and getting other timelines out of our timeline by editing them out. Like there's this whole concept where like you you do Mandela effects, leftovers will creep into the timeline, and if enough of them collect, it'll pull you back into that timeline. And so there's actually this
wow.
thing that yeah, so there's actually this thing that we'll do as time soldiers was after we reset an event, we got to go around and find certain books, certain artifacts, certain things that shouldn't exist but do exist. We got to go around and find them and get rid of them for real. That was the thing with Montauk, and that's where like when people get confused about Tartaria, because it's like oh what, like the evidence suggests we have airships and stuff from the 1300s and whatever, but we didn't have airships in the 1300s. Well, both things are true because I talked about this on Jessica's show. It's like reality timelines are like a light, like a frequency, and they can and it can be like imagine like the light's going like this, and it's a straight light, and then it spreads out. It spreads out, and then
Yeah,
There's more than one ray now. There's more than one ray, but
right.
they're it's from the same source, and all these little sections are a lot like each other, but a little different. And so how we classify um, timelines? Right now we're in timeline 1138B. Um, and 1138B means that there's A and B. So there's another reality just like this that's like a mirror of this reality where we might be sitting here right now having the same conversation or something. I'm not sure what's going on over there right now, but I can tell you that there's multiple realities. I don't know how many there are right now. I know I think there may be at least like five or something, but they'll exist right next to each other and meet, but they're all slightly different, and they can merge back into each other and out again. And what they'll do is when they know a merge is coming and they want a desirable outcome, they'll get rid of all the things that would be. It's hard to explain, but they'll like engineer it so that
Right.
they get into the outcome that they want, and they can actually basically edit, delete
Right.
history, and create a new history. And it's been caused a lot of problems with the fabric of the universe and the way time and space is supposed to work. It's kind of an affront towards God. It's not a healthy thing to do at all, I don't think. You know what I mean? Like God had a like the first timeline, the one where we didn't mess with it, that was things were fine. We had everything great, and then we had to mess with it. You know what I mean? Free will is a hell of a thing. Like that's why it's such a huge concept in the Bible. Like the apple that we ate was just self awareness. Like it's like a metaphor. It's free will, self awareness, and free will. Like realizing like, oh,
Exactly.
I'm a creator. I'm a god. Like I can build things. I can make things. Like that's what the apple is. And yes, things were simpler and better when we are just running around and eating fruits in the forest or whatever, but we didn't understand ourselves. We didn't understand the nature of the universe and all these things, and that's the price we paid. Is the danger of that being able to do what we want, our own, make our own choices. There's a danger in
Exactly.
that, but at the end of the day, it was our own choice to decide. And yeah, that's what I really think it is. And for better or worse, I mean, I think it's we had to learn that lesson. You know what I mean?
Well, I think we really are experiencing the illusion of separation, really, because it really is the separation between man and God, for example, or humanity and God, yin and yang, male and female, love and fear, although love has no opposite, but fear for our um, human minds is something that we can kind of perceive more easily. So, once and all of those have extremes, right? So we had to experience the extremes. We are yet to experience being caught up in the matrix, hell. We yet to experience being caught up in the process of reincarnation. So whether you believe reincarnation is evil or good, it doesn't matter. If you are on earth, you've experienced it. My grandmother always told me, don't ever take the first light. I remember that from a child. You don't take the first light because that's how you get trapped.
Mm-hmm.
So once your soul is ready to free itself of this matrix of hell, because we experience the matrix of hell here, right? Disconnection, someone else's simulation of who we really are. And then once we've experienced the extremes here, because the transmutation between all of the extremes carries on for gazillion years, and or just about. And then we get to that point where we've understood the extremes. It's like my friend Olav talks about, then understanding that the coin has not two sides, but three sides. The rim is the third side. Both sides have to exist, but then you ride the rim. Then you spin on your head, like in easy skydiving, right? Then you understand. You then have an altruistic outlook on life. You don't judge things anymore. You understand good is good and bad is bad. You have a choice to decide for yourself, but you see things from an altruistic perspective where judgment is no longer the order of the day. And when you stop judging in the head, and that's unfortunately what I see with a lot of religions. If you don't know your Bible, you're making a fool of yourself, Chantelle. And I'm going, screw that. My Bible lives in my heart. Long, long, long ago. Long ago. You can't swim across the river holding the frickin' Bible in your hand. Don't be ridiculous. Put your Bible down. Put it in your heart. Let the living waters of Christ's teaching then flow through you, because now you've understood what Christ was trying to teach us. Right? Now, put your Bible down. Let it live in you. Now you've understood the teachings of Christ.
Experience is like, you know, like I don't believe in this blind faith, like because you can
Exactly.
experience like, you know, Christ's love or like God's love, like just different things that will tell you that this is a real thing and isn't about blind faith. And I think that is honestly the mind control. And it is, anything spiritual is tangibly provable. Honestly, it really is. It just, a lot of it we might not have the tools to measure it yet, but it's there. You know what I mean? And it is quantifiable. So
Yeah,
I disagree with this whole thing that you just should have blind faith and just trust like a book or
exactly.
something like that. It's like, no, like any, there's evidence
Yeah.
for the spiritual
Part of mind
truths that
control.
exist.
Yeah. I mean, if we go back to the days of Christ, Jesus, let's just take biblical times. Jesus did not have a Bible with which he was walking around bashing everyone over the head with it. So stop it. You're making him cross. You're embarrassing Jesus when you do that.
Also Jesus didn't write the Bible. It's important to bring up too. It was his disciples who,
Exactly. He didn't need
I,
to.
yeah, like I think I honestly think the disciples are way, could be wrong sometimes maybe, and kind of put things through their filter. So, which is weird too, because there were writings of, like they found writings of like actually like Jesus Christ wrote them. Why aren't those in the Bible? That doesn't make any sense to me. That's
You
screwy.
see,
That makes no sense.
for me, it's about the missing books of the Bible. Now that's where you go look,
Yeah, and like
right?
the Catholics, all the crazy books that they have, and all the
Exactly.
weird
You know,
artifacts and relics and
you know,
stuff.
exactly. And you know that the King James Bible is copyrighted by the royal family, right? You
I
all
did
know
not.
that.
I did not know that.
Yep. You all go check it out. It's copyrighted by the royal family.
Well, it makes a
Does
lot of
that
sense.
not itself tell you something? I'd run a mile from that book, I swear.
Yeah.
Guys, everyone's entitled to their opinion. We're all just figuring this out. We're all walking each other home. But in my experience, when you take away, it's like learning how to drive a car. And of course, you have to sit with your driver's manual and do your learners and learn from the book. And then, go for your driver's test. And it could take you a year, whatever. But do I drive with my driver's license, my book manual? No. I know to stop at the stop street. I know when the street light is red, green, I can go. I know to
Mm-hmm.
slow. I know. I understand. It's part of me. It's an
Human beings
automatic
do. Yeah,
part of
it's like
who
this whole
you are.
idea that you need a book to have a moral compass is really silly. Very silly.
Yeah.
You don't need a book to
Exactly.
have a moral
Let
compass.
it guide you. Let the book be your guide for a point in time. Then you let it go, like anything else in life. You let the book
Mm-hmm.
go and it becomes part of your living teachings. Doesn't mean you're discarding Jesus or Christ. It just means you no longer need the book. Because, just like people get addicted to tarot cards, I see Christians addicted to their Bible. And if the Bible doesn't say so, they don't do it. And if you say anything against that Bible, they get violent with you.
Yeah,
That's not what it's for.
it's dangerous. Yeah, it can be dangerous.
Yeah,
I really like the Christians who are empathetic and understanding and don't believe that you need to be Christian in order to have value and stuff like that. Those are the people that I feel like are actually getting the message and getting the right
exactly.
knowledge out of what Jesus was trying to say or whatever. I'm not really religious myself, but I recognize the value in that.
Yeah, likewise. Absolutely. It's like Gandhi said, I really love your Christ, but I do not like your Christians, for they are
Yeah,
so unlike your Christ. Now, that
yeah,
for me says it all. Be like Christ was. And Christ always said, you can do what I do plus more. We living 2,500, 3,000 years after Jesus. We've learned from Jesus. We can create miracles. We can be the living waters if we allow ourselves to, if we become the conduit for that. And the conduit for that, you open yourself when you're in truth. That's it, truth.
one thing
Truth is
I kind of have always believed in that I feel like just like to bring up just on the while we're on the subject, I don't think there's anything wrong like with connecting with like Yeshua, like Christ energy, but I do have qualms with the fact that they try to tell you that that's the only source of like communing with God. Like I think God, like I think every time like you sit at the side of a hill and like watch a beautiful sunset and like are in awe of
Totally.
that moment or something like that, like that is you communing with God. That is you having a moment. So this whole
Absolutely.
idea that like you can only do it through Christ, like which I'm pretty sure is in the Bible. I don't think Jesus ever actually said that. I don't think he would say that. I don't know. That's just my opinion. And I think that you can actually have we do all sorts of stuff all the time where we connect with God, and we might not realize it on a conscious level, but that's my opinion on it. And yeah, that it, like going camping can be church, right? Like
Yeah.
going swimming in an ocean, that can be
Hanging with your
church.
friends, laughing,
Yeah, going to a
appreciating,
concert,
loving.
going to a good like positive like concert where the music is like high energy and like positive, like that can be like church. Like you know what I mean? All these things. So yeah, I just believe that like God, if there is a God, right, which we all know there is, and they created this thing for us, I don't think that I think that they would rather have us show our appreciation through it by just appreciating the creation rather than like having to be like, hey man, thanks every day over and over again. Like, hey God, by the way, I'm really grateful and I feel blessed. Thank you, amen. Like, you, going out there and being appreciative and living a wholesome life, I feel like is enough. Well, it's sure you can say thank you, but I feel like if you're not doing both, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you're
You're
not
not
going,
acting.
yeah, exactly.
You got to act. And you see, this is also where I find, and again, I've been a healer for many, many years, and I've understood a lot of things about humans and how we operate and the parts of the body, etc., etc., etc. And one thing I know is when we come from the heart, there's a warmth. There's a warmth in the heart that vibrates. The heart chakra is actually 3.5 meters bigger, wider, if you want to call it that, than the rest of the chakras in your body. But the way to operate the heart chakra is you have to be able to give and receive equally. You can't just give, give, give and not receive. And you can't take, take, take without giving, because there's where the imbalance lies. So when people have reached that point, there's a warmth. Everything else dissolves. And I find a lot of with Christianity, there's no warmth in a lot of the Christian people that I come across. They're too intellectual in their heads about what the Bible verses say and about who's right and who's chopping off which demon's head, which is
Well,
never what Christ wanted.
I'm not sure if
Because you,
I'm not sure if you're aware of. There was a man who I wish I could remember his name because people would look him up and find him. I'm bad with names, but he's got stuff on YouTube and stuff where he was deep in the Masons, deep in the satanic aspect of the Masonic stuff, and he was also a priest at a church, and that was the whole facade that he put on for people. And he is actually reformed now and is actually like a Christian, like follows the teachings of Christ or whatever. And he talks about what the satanic cult is actually like as a reformed member. And he basically explained that, like, in order to be a priest in the satanic church, you have to be running psychological operations, basically.
yeah,
And the best way to do that is to become a priest in a church, like of a Christian
exactly,
church, a Christian institution. And then they say, they literally say that the goal is to pervert the word of God. They use that exact word, pervert. And basically, when you go to a congregation and you got see a guy up there stoking hatred and stuff, 9 out of 10 times this guy knows exactly what he's doing, and he's doing it on purpose because he's a Satanist in
exactly,
disguise.
exactly.
Just like the confessionals at the Catholic churches. That's the Catholic Church's way of blackmailing people. Like they're because it's really satanic. Like it's a little black people with the information that they get on people and make them do their bidding and stuff. So it's
Wow.
all yeah, it's all very very evil.
The thing is, it's the complete opposite. The Christian religion talks about the living waters. You reach a point of reaching the living waters when you've been able to reach a point of non-violence. In other words, transcending without any violence. You do it through faith and love. You put your faith over fear. And when you have faith over fear, there is no need for violence ever. And that's what I'm saying. So that's ultimately where the Christ light or the living waters comes in. We reach that point, we don't have to chop a demon's head off anymore. When these things come for me, I just give it to God. I say, take it. Thank you. I don't need that. Take it. I don't do this return to sender shit. What a biggest waste of time. Ping pong, ping pong. No thanks. Take it, God. Take it. Take it. You want to give it to me? God's got it. There you go. I carry on with my life, and then you deal with the consequences of your actions type
That's
of thing.
amazing. It's like one of those things where it's like, why didn't I think of that? That's great. I like
Exactly.
that.
That's what I keep saying. You don't need to chop a demon's head off. You're creating bad karma. You're creating resistance. These are the lost souls that God is looking for, people.
Yeah, there's a part of me that needs to hear that because there's a part of me that just wants vengeance and I just want to cut their heads off.
I understand, but I'm saying don't do it. And if
Yeah,
you
I know. I hear
and if you
you.
get chased in your dreams, don't let these things chase you. All you do is you turn around and you face them. Guess who's chasing you? Guess who's chasing you? Guess. I'll give you one guess. Not the devil, no.
It's yourself.
Exactly. 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 If every person turned around and stopped allowing the monster to chase them, you turn around, you face it, you shine your heart light on this demonic entity. Guess what? It stops, it dissolves, and you see your own eyes. You see your own eyes filled with pain. You are chasing yourself. Promise you. Try it. That's the gift I can give everyone today. It's that. Stop running away. Turn around. Face it. You are the light that that thing needs to transform.
That's really good advice. I think that's a really good note to kind of wrap things up on, honestly.
Yeah. It's beautiful when you do it. Honestly, my favorite Bible verse, and everyone who knows me knows I'm not religious, but I love God with all my heart and soul. And I work for God and no one else. And I am stubborn to the point of tenacity and tenaciousness, but God knows who I am. And I will say something, when I'm faced with these horrific things, because on this channel, believe you me, I've had some things. My favorite Bible verse is, be still and know that I am God. And when you turn around and you stand still and you have your faith, know that I am God. Those things dissolve. And any dark entity that comes to me, I know they're ready for God. I don't do all sorts of nasty things with them. I just go, you're ready for God. Go back. Thank you, God. I'm so proud to say, God, look what I got for you today. Boom, take it.
Yeah, I mean that seems
I
like
love
it'll
being
work.
God's
That seems
favorite
like a really
child.
good.
I love,
I don't think there's anything too big for God to handle, right? If you're trying to hand something off to somebody.
you know, I mean, it's interesting. Someone was saying early on about evil and the law of attraction. I just have to say that the law of attraction is highly misunderstood. We are living on a planet that is governed by the law of attraction. Just like Kundalini in your own body exists, and people call Kundalini evil. Kundalini is not evil. It can't be evil. It's in your own body. It's what people do with it that makes it evil. Don't
Mm-hmm.
ever forget that. And I see a lot of religious people have that issue. So I'm saying now, when it comes to law of attraction and stuff, when you're aligned in God's creation, you become magnetic. You don't have to chase. What a lot of the law of attraction coaches will tell you, they will bend energy and they make you chase it, manipulate it. You don't have to do that. Because when you're in alignment with God's vibration, you magnetize and you draw to yourself exactly that which you need. We are powerful creators. We are yet to create and manifest. Why do you think these creatures of the night are after us like that? Why? Why? Because we manifest for them. They create fear, 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 fear. And what do we do? Fear, 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 fear. And we create exactly the
Yeah,
thing.
because they can't manifest things like we can, right?
Exactly. They create exactly what they want through us. Now we got to change our perception. Turn the fear, false evidence appearing real. That's what fear is. Turn around and face the thing that's chasing you. False evidence appearing real. And then you look at life very differently because suddenly you break through that illusion. Fear is the illusion, and then God shows you the truth. But you have to have the courage to break through the illusion first. God doesn't do it
100%.
for you. God doesn't take you and put you in a place and say, okay, you're not sick anymore. Bullshit. I'm going to say, you got cancer, this. What have you done to give yourself cancer? How have you played a role? Because only when you acknowledge that can you heal it. It's just coming back into balance. We're very powerful. We really are powerful beings, guys. Don't let people tell you that you are evil, that you are weak, that you are bullshit. You are an incredibly strong, powerful being. And when you align in the presence of God, nothing is impossible. And you know what? Trust me, you can speak directly to God. Oh, yes, you can. You can.
I
So,
believe that
and
too.
I
That's always
love that line.
been a problem that I've had with like Christianity is like I don't believe in like why do I gotta go through this guy in order to get to God? Like isn't God everything? That doesn't make any sense to me. You know what I mean? That I never got that.
Exactly. You know, what I'm going to do, I've started a group on Telegram called Hang Out with Shanti. You guys can come and I want to just see if it's on here. And we're going to be doing talks like this there, monthly talks where we talk about stuff like this. So, Akim, are you on Telegram? You should come and join us there.
I am not on Telegram, unfortunately. But
Okay.
if I ever do get it, I'll make sure to join.
We will. I want to just see it. Anyway, it's Hang Out with Shanti on Telegram. And then because we're going to be doing more and more of these types of conversations where we actually engage people. They come in because really there's such a there's a bridge we have to take from repenting to healing and understanding how powerful your body is, and your body is a conduit for spirit, the Holy Spirit. Thank you, Jeanette. And when you allow that to happen, nothing is impossible. Nothing. Anyway, okay, we've chatted, and I know I've kind of said quite a bit here at the end.
Yeah, we got a
But
lot in. Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, it was great. It was great just kind of getting a lot of this off my chest for the first time, and we'll have to do this again eventually, sometime soon or whatever. And yeah, just thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to speak with you.
and you are Kim. Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing your journey with us. I know it really is. For the average person, I can't even imagine what they must think about this. And it takes a lot of
Yeah,
courage.
that's some wild stuff for sure. It's pretty wild stuff. Oh yeah, the one thing that I wanted to say, I forgot to say. I got distracted. Now I want to say it before I forget. We're talking about Johann Rohr and these playlists, and basically a thing that they're doing with these songs. This is where I got distracted. I'm remembering it now. I just want to say it. Um, is basically this guy Johann Rohr is representing 650 different artists on Spotify, and he's been played 15 billion times. Um,
No.
it was a secret, but they did some investigate. Like no one could figure out who this guy was, but eventually, an investigative journalist with a Swedish newspaper identified 47-year-old Rohr, who had created more than 2,700 songs on the platform. Their names including Maya Ostrom, Minik Knudsen, Mingmi Hsui, just really weird names. And the success of the like how well he did, he's above Michael Jackson, Metallica, Mariah Carey. So he's got a lot of plays, and what it is like I was telling you before, like with the new way music is, you're not like looking up like, oh, I want to listen to Nirvana, I want to listen to Nirvana. Like that's more rare. People are usually looking up like stress relief playlist or peaceful piano or music to relax to or whatever, and they know that, and so that's what he's made. That's what they're putting out with this guy is stuff like that, and
Wow.
they,
Wow.
they 90. So Spotify paid 90 billion kronor, Swedish kronor. That's 6.7 billion euros to the music industry, and some of the criticism is of people is this Roar guy, and there's other people like him, are comprising a lot of this money that's being made. Like Spotify just championed itself as a way for musicians to get revenue through their music, but it's they have this weird. This guy's working with Spotify. This Roar guy. I know that Max Martin, Does Pop, and Ordo Templum Nephilim are working directly with Spotify, and they talked a lot about stuff that did not exist. Like Dennis Pop, like he talked about portals. He talked about MP3s before they came out. He you could, I don't know. It's wild stuff. Like they all knew that this was going to happen, and yeah, it's just weird. Like people can look into this. There's a Guardian Guardian on it, and Spotify for exposures says there's an increased interest in functional music created to enhance everyday activities such as relaxation, focus, studying, and these playlists are created to match the listener's demand. This type of music typically exists in Spotify's Focus Hub, which limits competition with artists from traditional genres of popular music. So basically, their algorithm is pushing this stuff so that they can make the money off of their platform, and people are
Yeah.
openly criticizing it. They're like, "Well, so you're just creating your own artists to make playlists so that you can make money off your own platform, and basically pushing the little guy, the artist who are. Your whole thing is you're supposed to say that anybody can make revenue off here. It's a contradiction of terms, and yeah. So I just wanted to point that out that that's just one weird coincidence, and as far as like hardcore evidence, I don't have so much of that, but I have like a whole laundry list of really weird coincidences that I could bring up if we ever did another show on this.
Yeah, I'd love to. Wow. For sure, Kim. Definitely. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry,
Jan.
I just saw that I forgot to bring that up, and I wonder we can
No, I
wrap things
appreciate
up though.
that.
I didn't mean to make it go further longer, but yeah, thanks again for having me.
No, thank you. And what I'd like to do is also do a membership show with you sometime where some of the viewers can come in and they can ask you some questions, because I know with some of the chats, there's lots of questions and we don't always get round to them. And you can see we're over 2 hours already. So
Yeah,
we can chat.
reach out to me in my email about that. That sounds good.
Yeah, we'll do that. Cool. Well, then we'll do that as well. Okay, everybody, God bless you all and take wonderful care of yourselves and have a fantastic weekend.
See you later,
And
everybody.
yeah, and we'll see you soon, Akim. We'll see you in a couple of weeks again.
All
Yeah,
right.
take
Yeah.
care.
Take
Lots
care.
of love. Mwah, everybody. Bye.